Oh, hey, are we back?
We are back.
Alright. Hey, guys. It's Pixel Response Podcast 2012, late October, Halloween weekend edition.
Episode 50.
Because Halloween's totally on the weekend. Don't check your calendar. Don't check it. I'm sick, dude. Are you sick?
I'm sick.
Yeah, Sickcast. Sorry if it's going to be a little lower energy, but things have been happening, and we want to talk about them.
Yep.
Drinking Gatorade.
I even asked you, should we even bother?
Yeah, I felt bad though because I haven't been available for a while. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, Paul?
Let's talk about Halloween.
All right.
I like Halloween, and it's literally tomorrow from this recording.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I like Halloween. I haven't made any costume plans or anything. I think at this point I just don't have one. I feel kind of bad about that, maybe.
Costumes are overrated.
Yeah, just the internet.
It's all about scaring people.
Yeah. So you just jump out of the bushes with a flashlight and yell at them.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's Halloween.
And
what?
Steal kids' candy.
Yeah, it's totally allowed. One time a year.
That's
You're
right.
allowed to steal pillowcases for candy.
And
kids.
To scare the shit out of them without being arrested.
Yeah. Man, just with how cold it's going to be here, I'm wondering if there's just going to be way too many, not enough kids out there. So a lot of houses just have tons of candy. So the few kids that do go are going to be stoked. They're going to get such a good haul.
To be fair, though, where we live, it's always like this at this time of year. There's always snow on the ground on on Halloween.
Was it this bad last year, though? I seem to remember not having snow. Because I had, a jack-o'-lantern out there and everything.
I think there was frost. It was definitely cold. I don't know if there was snow, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year, I think I'm going to some manner of, screening and Halloween party.
Okay.
On the day, which I've never really done before.
Would you call it a screaming?
A screaming? I don't think there's going to be a lot of that happening in the theater. Unless they're going for horror movies, I'm not really sure. It's, I think locally made short films or something. A friend of mine's got a entry in there, so...
Gotcha.
That should be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But, man, yeah. There's also, we're meeting at a pub and stuff after, but after last night's incident, I don't think I'll be able to eat anything.
What happened last night?
Monday nights around here are cheap wing nights at several local pubs and eateries.
Okay.
So I loaded up real good, ate many wings, and then got really sick after.
Great.
It was the worst. It was the worst, Paul. I can't... vomiting is just the worst. I don't know if we want to really talk about it.
It is in a way, but in another way, it feels really good.
There's a relief involved after, yeah, but, it was weird. It was I knew I would have to, 2 hours before I did.
Yeah.
Just made for, the grossest 2 hours.
The worst is the nausea that never leaves you and you can't puke to help relieve it.
Yeah.
You just have to wait it out.
Spaces of that happening. The first one where it's I'm pretty sure all I need to do to feel better is throw up, but I can't right now, so I'm just feeling really gross and bloated and disgusting.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's I don't think I'm done yet, but my body has no moisture in it left to do anything, so I was just drinking water so I could throw up again.
Yeah.
It was an amazing night. So now that we've roasted all our listeners.
And then you get to the point where you're sitting on the toilet and you don't know which end it's going to come out of.
Yeah, so you have a bucket, but you're still sitting there.
Or I lucked out because my toilet is right beside my my shower.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just lean over and puke in there and not have to get up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whereas I had amazing timing on my part because my toilet was broken.
Oh, great.
So this added an extra level of every time I needed to make use of the washroom, I would then have to fill up an ice cream pail full of water and manually rinse down all the stuff. So,
classy.
Yeah, it was a bad time. Eventually, I just went next door to my grandparents' house and stayed there for a bit. I was sleeping all day.
Right on.
Reading news about media happenings and stuff, but we'll get to that later.
For sure. So since it's Halloween, I usually like to watch Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm.
One of which, my favorite of which, I should say rather, you actually went to go see the other day, The Shining.
Yeah. I watched that last night.
How was that?
Pretty sweet. I think that's probably the first time I've been able to see a Kubrick movie on the big screen.
Okay, yeah.
And he makes use of that screen, you know. I like that. I'm trying to... I guess it was the Blu-ray version, which is the one I have, which apparently has some additional scenes and like weird stuff in it that some people weren't used to. I guess there's different cuts of the movie floating around.
Like what scenes were different that people weren't used to?
If
you remember.
What the specific one no one recognized. Like him going to that party in the gold room.
Yeah.
Which, like, I always remember, but I guess bits and pieces of that party...
Where he's talking to, like, the ghost?
Well, like, where there's... Yeah, it's, like, full of, like, a 1920s kind of gala happening.
Yeah, and he's talking to the bartender?
And, like... Well, he's talking to the bartender, and then Grady, the previous caretaker, spills stuff all over him, and then they go into the bathroom and have this really awesome, weird conversation.
Wait, I didn't know there was a cut without that. I've seen that one.
That seems pretty key to the whole movie. So that might be what they're talking about, or they're saying like little things Shelley Duvall sees when she's kind of wandering through the house when it's all going crazy.
Okay.
Like certain things
those would be harder to pinpoint.
Yeah, it's just like, was there that like weird, you know, butler dude with like a cut down his face and a glass of wine? Like, was that in all of them? It's just like, I don't know, dude. Like, I can't speak for all the VHS and TV cuts and whatever that are maybe out there. Which weird for me though, because I think Kubrick kind of locked down cuts usually, right? Like 2001, there's one that he approves of existing.
Yeah.
You know? And there's like 18 minutes of footage or something that he cut right away that still exists somewhere, but that's not part of the movie.
Right.
Really. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was a good time. Jack Nicholson gets all crazy. It has that kind of... It actually does the thing there's one scene in Sinister that I felt got the creepy, scary thing right. And this movie is kind of more scares of that nature. Like, it's not like jumping at you. It's more just like weird things happening.
Just kind of disturbing.
Yeah, for instance, the scene in the bathroom with like the naked lady that turns into this creepy old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not like that. He doesn't like do a weird cut and there's like loud music to scare you. It's just kind of really weird, and you're just like disgusted by it. Horrified.
Uncomfortable, really. The whole movie makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, which I don't know. I appreciate that. That's good. It's a good flick. I will say though, I've always felt this way. Nicholson is just crazy right away. Like their drive up to the Overlook Hotel, like their conversation is just so weird, and he's already kind of angry that I don't know. Like, there's no real kind of slow, like, oh no, that's so tragic that he went crazy. Like, you're just like, no, I'm pretty sure this dude's gonna go crazy. Something's wrong with this guy. Yeah. And like they've already had conversations and stuff about him accidentally hurting Danny and like drinking problems and all this stuff. So like, you know where it's going like almost immediately. I don't know if the book treats that like kind of a slow decline.
I mean, dude, he's a caretaker.
Yeah. He's always been the caretaker.
Yeah.
Think about that. That picture at the end?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Yeah. The Shining. It's pretty sweet. I guess going back a little bit, just to keep it thematically consistent, I watched Frankenweenie.
Great.
That
looks like a movie I shouldn't care about.
I don't know, yeah, I don't think you'd like it. I'm not sure I did, like, at the end of it specifically, because, like, over the course of it, it was fine. Like, there's some entertaining little bits. Specifically, there's this cat. I think it's just named Mr. Whiskers or something, but he can predict the future, and he's kind of treated really weird, and, like, his owner is kind of weird, too, and it was kind of funny. Like, there's, like, little funny Burtonisms in there over the course of the movie. Like, Martin Landau gets to play this weird science teacher and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end of the movie, like, there's, like, no message to this movie at all. Like...
What do you mean?
Well, like, seeing the trailers and stuff, like, I assumed, like, okay, kid can't get over the fact that he lost his pet, so he brings him back. But obviously, at the end of this movie, they're going to have some sort of lesson about, you know, having to let go of things, and they'll always live on in your heart, blah, blah, blah. No, they just straight up cheat death forever, and he's happy. And, like, at that point, it's just like, what is this? This movie has nothing to say then at all. Like, it's just goofy for, like, 90 minutes, and then it's over. You know, like silly stuff happens in a black and white, you know, movie that's referential to a lot of horror films, and then it's over, and like nothing happened at the end of it, pretty much.
Was there any point in your life you wish you could bring an animal back?
Yeah, probably when I was a kid. Like, so, like, yeah, it kind of brought up those feelings of like, oh man, yeah, I remember when I lost my dog or whatever, and then it just kind of doesn't do anything with that. It's just like, yeah, in this world, you can just electrocute your dog and he'll still be alive forever. And it's just like, okay.
That's convenient.
Yeah, like, it's just kind of, that's a weird thing to say, because that's not true. I don't know. What are you doing? There's like a Gamera reference in it, which is kind of nice, and like some weird little jokes throughout that were kind of like, oh, alright. But yeah, at the end of the whole thing, like, Paranorman is a much better movie that's kind of done in a similar style. And, yeah, spend your money there, I'm going to say, if you want to see an animated horror-centric movie.
Yeah, I do want to see Paranorman still. I don't give two shits about Frankenweenie.
Yeah, it reviewed pretty well too, but I don't know. I think people...
critics are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
For the most part, anyway. I shouldn't say all of them.
Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, like 14%. What?
Space Jam.
Space Jam also, yeah.
I guess that's a reoccurring theme. Space Jam.
Yeah, we bring it up a lot, but...
Whenever, like, critical review comes under...
Well, more like IMDb's ratings.
Yeah, specifically IMDb. I guess specifically people's taste in movies.
Yeah. I mean, people didn't like Cobra either. I don't know what they wanted. It's pretty great.
Cobra's okay. I guess I could see where you could criticize some things, but I mean, I don't know what you're looking for in a Stallone movie.
Yeah, he plays a cop. He shoots a lot of dudes. It's funny.
He plays Judge Dredd.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, he is the law.
Yep. Although he also played Judge Dredd, but not as well as Carl Urban played Judge Dredd. So.
Well, Carl Urban's chin.
Yeah.
We can't be disingenuous to the man's chin.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good chin.
Although Stallone's chin's pretty great too, and apparently was the inspiration for the original Judge Dredd's chin. So it all folds back on itself.
Awesome.
Yeah, like dude saw Rocky and it was like, I'm gonna make a comic about a tough cop with that chin.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Have you seen other movies this week, or I got a couple more?
No, just go ahead.
Okay. I watched the straight up edition of Payback.
Okay.
Which is the Mel Gibson kind of revenge movie.
Yep, I remember it.
I guess there's two very different versions of this movie out there. I saw the less seen one, like the director's cut. Brian Helgeland did kind of an improved version that came out later.
Okay, so what's the difference between them?
I guess a lot. Like, apparently the last third of the movie is just completely different. I have no real point of reference because I haven't seen the other one, but I guess the version that went to theaters and stuff has a lot more explosions and is much more straightforward in its narrative, whereas this one kind of starts after the betrayal has already happened, and then you kind of eventually find out what happened.
Okay, that's the one I've seen then.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it ends on like a little shootout on a train platform.
I guess it's been years. I mean,
okay.
I was still in high school, so like I hadn't seen it probably since the early 2000s.
Okay. I'm not sure when this cut finally made it out there, but I don't know. It was a decent little movie. Maybe a little short. Like, I was kind of getting caught up in it and like, oh man, he's going to go take down these criminals over just this silly principle thing.
Yeah.
Not even that. He actually says that's not the case either. He just wants his money, no more nor no less, and they're kind of dicking him around, and he's not into that. And I kind of like how that plays out for the most part, but then they kind of cut it off early a bit. Like, he gets back more money, and they just drop away. And he doesn't actually take down, like, the big kingpin or anything. Which I guess maybe he does in the other cut, but I'm not sure. Also, the dog apparently does not die in that version, because audience testing, like, people like dogs a lot, so they wouldn't let them
that shit always sucks to see a dog die.
It's like,
a good dog.
Dark. Like, this dark comedy is too dark, so we're gonna clean it up some and put in some...
Well, I can relate specifically to that.
Okay.
Seeing a dog die on screen sucks, but
yeah,
I don't know. Seeing a cat die on screen is really bad too.
Mm-hmm. I guess, yeah, my favorite character in Frankenweenie does die, which I thought was real lame.
The dog?
No, the cat. See, because the dog doesn't die, he's just got infinite tries, I guess, but they make sure to kill that cat, which I thought was kind of dumb, because I thought that was a funny character. But, whatever, I guess.
Wait, if they kill the cat, why can't they just bring it back to life?
It gets, like, impaled, so I guess it's just done. It turns into this weird, like, I mean, to be spoilers, I guess, it turns into this weird monster thing.
Oh, okay.
As, like, yeah, basically, like, the electrify things to make them come back to life, apparently that can just go wrong if you do it wrong, so then they become monsters instead of just lovable pets again.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. For no other reason than the movie's logic demands it. But, yeah. Then after Payback, I watched Cop Land.
Basically, like, Judge Dredd.
Well, kind of, no.
I say that because Sylvester Stallone's in it.
Sylvester Stallone's in it, and he does dispense some justice, but, like, his character...
Would you say he is the law?
No, I'd say he's, like, a real pathetic sad sack of a cop who eventually figures out something's really going wrong in his precinct, or, like, in his...
So then he is
territory.
The law.
Well, he's the only one who's willing to make a stand for the law, you know?
The law's pathetic.
Him and Ray Liotta, but yeah. It's kind of interesting to see a sort of serious character from him, because he doesn't do that anymore.
Right.
And I guess this time, like, it didn't really pay off in terms of box office or anything, so that was the last time he really did that. Unless you want to count Rocky, like him returning to Rocky. Which I will, I guess.
I won't.
Well, he is that dude, kind of. So
yeah.
It's easy to play, but, like, there's still, like, thoughts and things. I like Rocky Balboa. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, yeah, this movie's kind of basically just a Western in New York City with, like, corrupt cops setting up this little town. And, like, a bunch of big actors in it, like Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta's in it. Robert Patrick has an amazing mustache.
Yeah.
And he plays a dirtbag.
Michael Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport is in it a lot. Which is
I haven't seen that guy in a long time.
I don't hate that dude.
He used to be in, like, everything for a while.
Like, I kind of liked him as the douchey friend in Sixth Day.
I don't remember.
Okay, he's pretty sweet in that. True Romance, he plays a goofball. I might watch that again. That's actually kind of fits the mood I'm in right now. I've been watching a lot of, like, crime movies. Just, and I'm going to say specifically that's because I've been playing Hotline Miami a lot. Mm-hmm. Which is the reason I watched Drive again, which is a movie I've talked some mess about before.
Do you stand by it?
For the, like, things about it still don't really, like, I just don't see the magic. Like, it's just like, it's okay. It's alright, but, like, I don't know, there's still a real, like, this story is still really thin, and I'm not sure if that's on purpose or what, but it still doesn't make for the most compelling viewing. Like, I'm not sure what to say. Like, I'm almost, like, at a point where I'm wondering if this is, like, basically a parody of action movies and how simplistic they are, but that might be giving it too much credit.
I think I think when you start looking into stuff like that, you're giving it way too much credit. You're making excuses for it.
Yeah, and I don't...
And really, I think the only reason why you're making excuses for it is because you want it to be better than you actually thought it was, because you really like Hotline Miami.
Well, to be specific, like, the creators of Hotline Miami, like Jonathan Soderstrom, cites that movie as, like, a big inspiration, and thanks Nicholas Winding Refn in the credits and everything. Mm-hmm. I can see why, just because there's one scene that basically encompasses the combat that is so key to Hotline Miami. Like, have you seen Drive?
No.
Okay. Spoilers, are you worried? It came out over a year ago.
No. I don't give a shit.
Okay. Dude, and, like, okay, like, a heist, it doesn't really matter. Basically, there's an attack that takes place in a motel room.
Yeah.
Some, like, 2 hitmen come to take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
The way that scene plays out, basically just kind of...
Is that the one with a hammer?
No, this involves a shotgun and a shower curtain rod.
Okay.
Like, it's just a short little scene where he kind of, like, realizes something bad's happening, hides next to a door frame, which is, like, the mechanic in Hotline Miami, is waiting next to doors, essentially, to wreck dudes in the next room. Mm-hmm. then he disarms the one guy just in time to grab the shotgun to turn around and then take care of the other guy. And like that kind of like microcosm, like chaos, but like it working out is what makes Hotline Miami awesome. But because they have kind of a Meat Boy-esque, you can retry over and over again, you can kind of make the most absurd action scenes work out because you start to like see how everything's going to play out by trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? So it's like, all right, I'm going to go in here, punch this guy, take his gun, shoot this guy. Oh, and then I got hit in the back by that guy I punched. Okay, never mind. I'm going to punch that guy, smash his head, pick up his gun, hide. You know, like you get to just kind of try over and over again to get something to work.
Mm-hmm.
And like this, like I was playing the game even more this past week. I've played about 20 hours of it now, which means I've beaten it like 5 times. But and I'm starting to get close to where I'm getting a lot of A's and A pluses on the levels, so I'm starting to figure out just the flow of the combat even better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like eventually once you're comfortable enough with the mechanics, you can pull off like the most gnarly, crazy business. Like I got like a 13 kill combo, and just like it just kind of worked out. Like I didn't even need to try it that many times after the initial plan was kind of laid, which was really, really satisfying.
Yeah.
And like I can't really describe what that was like and make it sound interesting because, you know, it's just a thing that happened in the game. But like once you're playing it, once you have the hands on and you're doing the stuff, it's just like really weirdly, like I don't know, it captures the chaos of combat better than most action games I've played. Because
right.
like you're like, I think the key is like how vulnerable you are. Like,
I was gonna say, does this have anything to do with the fact that if you get hit once, you're done?
Yeah, like the stakes are high, like inherently, because they should be. Because if you get shot in real life, you're done. Like that's it.
Like even if you're wearing body armor, yeah, you're done.
Right, like it's just over. So, like that, something like Max Payne, or like specifically, like I don't want to throw Assassin's Creed under the bus. We talk about it a lot, but there was like a moment in Brotherhood where it just kind of all fell apart for me, and that's when I fell like 4 stories and hit the ground and was still alive.
What?
Like, it's just because I had so much health already that it's just kind of like, alright, well, you're really hurt. And you're just like, no, that's fucked. I should be dead. Like, don't give me that. Like, this is too easy. I'm annoyed.
Then what do you think about games like DayZ and Arma and stuff where you can just, like, die from a wound on your leg because you can't run properly anymore and shit like that?
I do respect that. Like, I do like that mentality because it does kind of make you attached to your character in a way that's kind of realistic. Like, you're like, no, dude, I can't just go mess around. Like, this is bad. Like, I haven't done well at that game ever, DayZ specifically, but I'm still really happy, like, that kind of hardcore difficulty mentality can exist in the multiplayer space. Like, I'm really keen on that, like, polished up new version they put out.
But it sounds like Hotline Miami is not this at all, though. Like, it doesn't sound like they want you to care about the character so much.
You don't really get that invested in any one life or whatever. That wouldn't make sense. Or even your dude. Like, you're supposed to be kind of despicable.
Yeah.
Which I also appreciate, because, like, in my discussion about Spec Ops, which I forgot to bring over, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, too.
Yeah, like, that game kind of starts asking questions about the violence you're committing, but at the same time, like, they're still kind of pitching their cast members as like heroes gone wrong or something, or something. Like, there's still this kind of weird, like, it doesn't go all the way. Whereas this game is like, no, you're a diseased psychopath. Like, you're murdering people. Like, you're straight up murdering people. I don't know. Like, we're not gonna dance around that.
Right.
Like a game like Manhunt kind of puts you in a situation where it's like, well, you have to fight for your life. So, you know, you should probably put a bag on that dude's head and strangle him. And you're just like, that's kind of weird. You know, like, it's kind of justifying its actions in a way, whereas this is just like...
So if you were going to say that argument with a video game, how would you feel about something like a movie with Battle Royale or The Hunger Games more recently, where they are put in a situation where they have to kill to survive? Like, is it kind of the same thing? Like, just making it okay?
Like, I guess that at least provides enough context, but I've seen that more often than a game that just kind of does not apologize for what it's doing.
So would you say the big difference is, like, the player agency and you controlling the situation more than just watching it?
Right.
In that respect?
I'd
Okay.
actually be really keenly... Like, I'd be interested in a game that pits you against, like a Hunger Games type scenario. Like, that would... Or Battle Royale, I guess, sorry.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, that would be a cool video game premise that I haven't really seen happen. Like, where it's just, like, you are dropped into this... Well, except in multiplayer games, I guess. Like, Unreal is basically that, you know?
Well, I mean, every deathmatch is.
Yeah, you're dropped in a tournament situation. But, like, you know, with that one life kind of thing, like, that's what makes DayZ interesting, is, like, you have to keep that life and maintain it and get better weapons and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, so I guess that game does exist, too, and I think that's an interesting way to do that.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of different when you get into movie stories, though, like, I don't know. I've been comparing it to a lot of crime films and stuff, but, like, unlike other games where they kind of make up a character for you, this one kind of leaves it open enough to where it's just kind of like you get to... It's a nameless protagonist that's silent, so it kind of just is you.
Yeah, it's just like your silent avatar in this world.
And that you keep playing it makes you complicit in everything that's happening. So you're just like, you want to kill people, don't you? And it's like, yeah, I do. You've got me. You know, like, you've made a game where it's...
That sounds almost pornographic in a way.
It's kind of weird. Like, I'm not sure how to justify it entirely. Like, I get... Like, there's been some people balking at, like, whether or not this is a game worth praising. And I don't know how to answer that person, really. Like, all I know is I think it's fantastic.
Right, okay.
I'm comfortable enough with, like, being a disgusting murderer, I guess. If that's what's needed. But, yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know. I think it's definitely worth the look, though. Like, spending that time with it. Like, maybe you won't get that same rush or whatever. I'm not sure. Maybe it's for, like, a specific small group of people that grew up with specific movies or something and wanted to be in them or something. Like, I don't know. But for me, this was, like, perfect. In fact, there was one more element I kind of wanted to just bring up in relation to the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in Max Payne 2, there was a mode where you just... I think it's just called Last Man Standing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just fight wave after wave of dudes, like, forever, as long as you can last, and you're just kind of taking part in that combat and shooting dudes. And what I would do is just set up, like, some hot dance mixtape, and just play that over and over. And it was just like an action scene simulator, kind of, you know? And this game basically has that built into it, because it just has, like, really well thought out dancey beats in it at all times, so you just kind of get caught up in this trance of, like, moving to the beat and shooting dudes, and, like, it's just kind of all works together really well. And again, like, that's catered very specifically to what I wanted out of Max Payne, but, like, that is the game in this case, so I don't know. Like, it's weird. It's like they've like, this game really does feel catered to, like, a dude exactly like me who's been playing games like this but not quite getting what I wanted out of it, and then it's like, hey, we put all those elements in one thing. So yeah. Killer 7 as well, I'm gonna make one more comparison. There's some weird similarities to the way they treat one of the villain characters in that, and how we're treated. It's weird. Oh, whatever. Like, I could keep talking about, like, some weird kind of choice-like stuff they give you late in the game, but it's pretty story specific, so I'll
don't do that, because I'm literally probably going to buy it tomorrow, in, like, 12 hours from now.
Okay. Yeah, it just does some interesting things, but, yeah, well, what about it's, like, pornographic, you mean? Like, just exploitative, or what?
I don't know, just kind of the way that you were describing it, where it just kind of exploits, like, almost a hidden deep desire you have, and it's like, yeah, you like that, don't you? Like, it's almost like a naughty, guilty pleasure, only with blood everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And it asks that question directly, which I found interesting. Like, yeah. Like, I guess some people found that in Saints Row a bit, because, like, in Saints Row 2 specifically, your character is just insane. Like, you're the first gangster of them all. Yeah. And I did like Saints Row 2 quite a bit. Like, 3, for some reason, they just got kind of silly with it. Like, even sillier. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get to a point where that game kind of starts doing the same thing. I'm not sure. But, yeah. Did you play that one?
3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
What is it what is it that it does that kind of makes it like it's very self-aware that it's a game? Is that kind of one of the things it does, or?
More or less, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I might go back and try to see what everyone was talking about with that game at some point, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
You like it. You wrote something up. If people want to read that, it's pixel-response.com/Hotline Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up and live now as we speak. So go ahead and read that. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to playing it personally, but that'll have to wait till tomorrow because that's when I get paid.
Cool.
And I can buy stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see what other people think. I haven't really, like, other than some critics and stuff, I haven't really seen too many thoughts out there about it yet.
Well, you can be assured that as soon as I play through it, I'll have thoughts. I'll put them out there, probably.
Okay.
In some way. Like, probably through Twitter. Because there's no point in just writing a whole rebuttal if I disagree with you.
You'll probably have a bit of a better experience, too. Like, it was kind of broken when I got it, admittedly. Like, they did a little rough.
Well, I mean, video games, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which.
Oh, okay.
This last weekend, a friend of ours that we had never met before came from the States, Eno Metzo.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a hell of a time playing a video game that I don't know if I should get too specific about, because that's coming out in a few weeks.
Right.
But
I was there for that experience.
You were there for that, and that was quite the experience. Like, you could just hear everybody getting angrier the whole time.
Oh, I guess, yeah, if we're going to talk about weird game-breaking bugs and crashes, that was the night of that. It was pretty amazing.
So, the specific...
Also, pizza.
The specific game in question, I guess, 2 different systems crashed, what was it, a total of 4 times?
4 times crashing, then there was, like, a glitch that prevented progress in the one as well. That ninja guy...
To the point where we had to restart the whole level, which is about like 15 to 20 minutes of playing.
Yeah, it's one of the longest stages in the game.
So that was great.
Yeah. Should we just talk about the game?
I'm not saying specifically the game because that's coming out.
Okay.
Like in probably.
Stay tuned to the YouTube.
Yeah, so that'll be on the Awful Gamer HD on YouTube there, but it'll be
when you see it involves punching.
Yeah, it's the Next Idiots series, so that'll be season 3 of A Tale of Idiots. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyways, less specifically, I guess, it was good meeting Eno. It was a good time, I thought.
Oh yeah, like I guess was that supposed to be a podcast recording too, or
no?
Oh, okay, I went there like thinking like, is this episode 50? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But then it was just kind of a good meetup kind of thing. And Coke done right, so.
Yeah, I mean, there was drinking and various other forms of debauchery that I won't say on here who was partaking in that.
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity always goes good with debauchery of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
The expansion pack 2.
But yeah, overall, I guess just him coming to our city, I was a little annoyed because the week before he came down, I was thinking, like, I hope it stays this warm and doesn't snow, because if it snows, it'll just, like, enforce this stereotype he probably has. And, like, sure enough, it snowed, right? And he came off the plane in a snowy, cold city.
So, Canada, huh? This is what it's all about. It's like, well, not all the time.
But... Yeah, like, I think I said something to him, like, welcome to our iceberg, or something like that. Like, I don't know. It was kind of annoying, especially since, like, I don't have a vehicle, and we were relying on other forms of transit to get around and stuff, and one day we were just walking around downtown, and it's such a shitty day to do it when the wind's blowing snow in your face. But, yeah, I don't know. Good time all around, though. Cards Against Humanity, we played some of the second edition, or whatever, DLC, technically, the card version of DLC. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other, like, non-specific things to say. But yeah. Oh, I played Castlevania 3.
Yes, you did.
I'm not very good at it, but I don't know. I recognize the soundtrack from a CD I got when I pre-ordered Portrait of Ruin. So that was fun.
And speaking of Castlevania 3, next week's Retro Kill Screen podcast on Mondays with John, we'll be talking about that, so...
Okay.
That's why it was out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess if we want to go into old games, I also did play some Popeye.
Okay.
Mickey and Minnie's, Mickey Mousecapade.
Mousecapade, yeah.
Which is not great.
It's not the one you were thinking at all, was it?
Well, I think it is the one I'm thinking, but it's just annoying that you have to guide Minnie with you. Like, it's weird. It's like, it's not a two-player game. Like, imagine Sonic and, like, okay, Sonic and Tails, but the other player, like, no one can control Tails ever, and also Tails can't take care of himself, so you need to kind of guide him over stuff and around obstacles.
Yeah.
Like, it was, yeah, that is a bad idea. And then I played a bit of The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, and...
Game's good.
I need to play it more, I guess, but, like, it starts with, like, you really underpowered. Like, you just don't have any abilities or anything, so I was getting pretty frustrated pretty quick.
Yeah, the first one you get in, like, the second level, though, the turbine.
Like, jump on these clouds, watch out for the spikes, and it's just like, this is hard. This is annoying, but hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, then you get, like, the turbine suit.
Yeah, and you fight a spider or something.
Turns you into a genie of sorts.
Yeah.
A mage, if you will.
Yeah.
A sorcerer. Yeah.
Then
good. You get the firefighter one for the fire level, the hell level type thing.
It was kind of weird to notice, like, that game has points.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like it's kind of from that era, maybe, where, like...
your game just had points.
Yeah, it's like Mario Brothers for a while just has points. And you're just like, why does this have points? Like,
yeah, it's like, where's your... Wait, this isn't a game. Where's your points? It's like, oh, I didn't think we needed points. Well, then it's not a game.
It's like, I need my high score, dude. And you're just like, what? Who has a high score in Mario Brothers? Or Magical Quest, for that matter?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
That was just different times, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, that was that. And, Popeye. It's one of the best licensed games. It's awesome.
Yeah?
It captures everything that's Popeye in, like, a real simple game.
Is it much like the arcade game we were playing?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent port of it. I think all the levels are in there and stuff, too.
Right on.
Actually made it to the end, so it loops around, and you're kind of in Game B, where there's also skulls to contend with. So, that was that. And eventually that led to me looking up YouTube clips of the Robin Williams, Robert Altman Popeye movie. Mm-hmm. What the hell was that? What a weird thing that happened.
I never watched it.
Like, I had seen it, and I definitely, like, got those memories back of, like, oh, yeah, Bluto turns yellow and swims away. But, like, the audio design in that movie is just bad. Yeah. Like, I know Altman's kind of regarded for, like, his unconventional sound design of capturing kind of, like, a crowd sound or something. But his voice just sounds like overdubbed the entire time, like, very obviously. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get over that. Like, I seem to remember having issue with that even when I was, like, a kid. And I was, like, less discerning. But it was still just kind of like, something's wrong with this movie. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, watching it again, it's like, yeah, this is poor. What are you doing, Robert Altman? You're dead now, but, calling you out.
Calling out dead people?
Yeah, calling out dead filmmakers.
So pour one out?
Pour one out for Robert Altman. Eventually he figured it out and made some movies.
So pour one out, and then call one out.
Yeah.
Okay. Same guy.
Yeah. Speaking of that era of filmmaking, I don't know. One of the dudes from the 70s, mm-hmm. George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Big news today, as of the day of this recording, October 30th. Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4.05 billion.
Right.
And the internet is abuzz with speculation and bad jokes and just talking about this. They're like, hey, Princess Leia's a Disney princess now. Ah.
She is, technically.
Yeah. So she's the best one? I don't know.
That's weird. I don't like to think about that.
Is Tomorrowland just going to become Star Wars Land?
I hope so.
I kind of hope so, too.
Like,
some people were upset about that.
See, I don't know whether to be upset or not, because, while Lucasfilm has had, a lot of really good classic stuff to their name.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of suck at doing anything with, like, their old stuff. Sorry, the sickness and me being tired is not helping me make sense here, but
yeah, it's like the old stuff. They suck at the stuff.
They haven't been able to properly capitalize on their past. I don't think they've just
because like Lucas seems to have this weird like self-esteem issue or something. Like he's like, oh man, these old movies are so old. I need to buff them up again. And you're just like, no. We love them old.
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to put Hayden Christensen in it. And you're just like, no, that's not what I need. I don't... Okay. See, I just like the movie I saw when I was 12. I don't know why you need to
see, it makes perfect sense to me because Lucas is obsessed with making kids' films and Disney does nothing but make kids' films.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's a decent match for sure. As part of this whole, like, buying announcement, they also are, like, enough, like, weird rumors about a TV show maybe coming out or potentially a new movie. Mm-hmm. There's a new Star Wars film trilogy starting in 2015. So that's going to happen.
Do we know regarding what?
Not really. Everyone's saying Episode 7. So post-Jedi stuff. Which...
Okay. So then we're going to get into extended universe stuff.
I guess, or like, just... I'm not really sure...
See, it's kind of weird because if they actually go through with that, they will be sort of retroactively destroying the best part of Star Wars, which is the extended universe that came out after the films.
I don't know a lot of that stuff. I guess there's a series of books and things. Like, if anything, like the one bit of that stuff I've enjoyed is the Jedi Knight games, which involve like Kyle Katarn being taught by Luke Skywalker in this new Jedi temple and all this stuff. And like, I guess conceivably now that might not happen.
What if they made the Force Unleashed?
That'd be terrible.
That'd be weird.
Like, I didn't like that game, so I don't want that story at all. Like, it's just like...
Did you not like it as a game or a story, though?
It's kind of all of it. I don't know.
It was really bad as a game.
Yeah.
I would say it was worse as a game than it was as a story.
Maybe, but like just that super powerful, like pulling a Star Destroyer out of the sky, like that should be cool, but it was just wrong. Like it's just like this has never happened. Like this doesn't make sense. This dude is too powerful. This is weird. You know, like
that part
starting to get into like anime.
If we're just gonna get into like a game technicalities thing,
yeah, okay,
like that, like a mechanics thing, that part was just shitty too.
Yeah, like in the,
it was just shitty to play. It wasn't.
But I failed it like 4 times.
It wasn't. It was grand enough that like if they had pulled off the controls or something right, you would have felt like a badass. But it was just annoying enough that it wasn't fun.
Like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I just pull the stupid thing out of the sky?
Because you have to tilt it a little bit this way. Like it's stupid. It was just dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know really. Like people are mad about that. I guess like, it's like new Star Wars, dude. That thing's sacred. I don't know.
No, it's not. It's just Star Wars. Get the fuck over yourselves.
Yeah, it's just Star Wars, dude. It's already been kind of dragged around for a bit. I don't know if you noticed, so whatever.
It's not one of the best old sci-fi films ever. Deal with it.
Empire a lot.
I said that.
Okay. It's like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, it's kind of just that high adventure stuff in space, so... Yeah, I'm fine.
It probably has a little more class than that, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
More. All right, let's get into the casting corner. Edgar Wright directs them. Boom, best movies. He's got the action. He's got the comedy. Entertaining films. Armie Hammer's in it.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. Michael Cera is Luke Skywalker.
Michael Cera is in there. Yeah, he's Luke's son.
Okay. So we're making Scott Pilgrim the movie, basically. Okay.
I'm joking about Sarah, but Wright would actually fit. I don't know. He can do that.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead is Leia. That would be terrible.
No, yeah, dude, those characters are older now. I don't even know what they'll do with that. They might just not be in it. It might be post their deaths.
Or maybe they'll just bring in the original actors again.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's.
Why not?
You know.
Yeah.
Ford would not be enjoying that at all, but whatever. Get him out.
It'd be funny if it was like not so long ago and in a galaxy not so far away. It's just like, yeah, no, it wasn't that long ago, actually. It was probably, like, turn of the century.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, in some ways it is a daunting project. Like, it could go wrong in so many ways, but I think the stakes are kind of low right now. Like,
yeah, because who gives a shit about Star Wars?
I like Star Wars, but they've kind of been doing it wrong long enough.
That you don't really care that they touch it now.
Right, I mean, like, bad 3D special edition re-releases of, like, like, that's fine.
It's standard.
Yeah. It's like, I've gotten used to bad things happening with the name Star Wars on them. So, I'll give...
And some good things.
Yeah.
It almost makes you appreciate the good things more, seeing so much bad, though. Mm-hmm. That when they come along, you're like, yeah, no, dude, this is good.
Like, 1313, I'm looking forward to that. They could get it right.
That game seems weird, because it seems like the only thing it has related to Star Wars is the name.
It's also Coruscant stuff, which I've seen in other games.
Yeah.
But, like, specifically, like, the first level of Jedi Knight.
No, like, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they need to do to make that series feel... Like, the thing is, with Star Wars, is they always want to focus on Jedi, lightsaber, and Sith, basically.
And that's just kind of boring.
It is kind of boring because it's been overplayed and overdone. I mean, it's been redone how many times in different formats, plus, like... adding in little things here and there digitally, and then
got the sickest superpowers,
and then doing prequels, and then like it's just kind of overplayed and overdone. What you need to do is you need to take that previously set universe that they've created and put different little stories in it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm into.
Bounty hunters, man.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Like bring scale it back down to people shooting laser guns.
And I hate to say it, Mass Effect's going the same way as Star Wars.
Like they've like the bad way, you mean? Or?
I think they're exhausting a lot of stuff with Mass Effect, because didn't they say another one's coming and it will have Shepard?
Did they say that? I don't want more Shepard. Shepard's over.
Shepard's done.
Shepard should be done. Like, whether or not you liked how they ended Shepard's story, like, I want Shepard's story to be
As far as I'm concerned, the whole Spectre thing's done.
I don't want to... Yeah, I don't need to be a Spectre next time. Figure out some new angle. Like, yeah. I don't know.
But they're not going to do that because it's not the angle that'll make money.
I don't know. They could experiment a bit with it. I
don't know. They could experiment with it. I'm a little more pessimistic, I guess, thinking that they won't.
Yeah. Who knows?
Only time will tell on that one, I guess.
Right. But I don't know. It's big news. It changed a lot of stuff, I guess. I guess Lucas's reasoning behind it was more just kind of like him realizing like he needs to hand this off at some point to someone he can expect to keep it going.
Yeah, because he's gonna die.
He's gonna die eventually, right? So you have to think ahead. You gotta be like, this is my legacy now, and this is what people are gonna talk about. Do I want it to spread or kind of just keep it? And it's just like, all right, I'll let it go. So I don't know. I appreciate that, I guess. And Kathleen Kennedy is heading up the Lucasfilm now. So
there you go.
Long time producing partner.
I guess this doesn't really have to do with anything, but before we go to our next news thing, I watched this week's Walking Dead episode.
I'm most of the way through it.
I don't like it.
You didn't like what they did with it?
I didn't like it. I just found it boring.
Okay. I'm trying to think how I feel about it so far. Of the two storylines they got going on, I care about it less.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. But I mean, they're
listening back to your conversation with Panic Knife, where he kind of like was like, "Why should we care about this new character, Michonne or whatever?"
Yeah.
I kind of maybe agree with him. Like, if you just introduce someone late game like that, like they need to justify themselves pretty quickly. Like, does she do that in this episode or?
No. She doesn't do anything this episode.
Yeah.
Like, what did you see up to? Let's do quick spoiler talk, like 5 minutes.
Okay, quick spoiler talk. They're at the governor's place. Merle's back, which
okay. So you've seen the whole episode.
I've seen 30 minutes of it. I'm still like apparently I'm still at a point where I'm just not like I'm like what's so bad about the governor?
Did the governor do something?
He hasn't done anything malicious yet.
Okay.
So apparently that happens.
Do you want me to say what happens, or are you just gonna watch?
No, dude, I have like 10 minutes. Like, I'll be finding out what happens right after we're done recording.
Okay. But like, even let's say for argument's sake, even if he does something kind of like weird, like kind of evil, not evil, just something morally questionable. Sure, something gray in a black and white, or something black or white in a gray thing. I don't know. You know what I mean.
Gray world now, but
gray world. No more blacks and whites.
You know, does this really count as black anymore?
That's racist.
Changed.
Oh, racist.
Well, evil. Fine. I don't know. Whatever.
Evil's such a shitty word. Anyways, okay.
Bad.
So, say he does something questionable.
Yeah.
That's a better word. So 2 minutes of bantering just to come up with one word. Great. He does
questionable.
Say he does something questionable. Like, does it really undo all this other stuff? Like, he basically is recreating civilization.
Right.
So
yeah, like I'm at a point where...
Is it at a point where, like, by any means necessary, do it?
Unless it's something really, really weird, because, like, I've been thinking through,
what would be really weird to you? Just, like, an idea.
I'm not sure. Like, even in the episode before that, they're using zombies as, like, practice for, like, operations or whatever. That makes sense. That's totally justifiable. You need to use dead people.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's totally fine. The one thing I'm thinking they might do is, like, some sort of forced breeding program, which I would also be fine with. You know? I'm just saying. It's rules are different now. You know? Like, there's not a lot of people. Humanity needs to survive. Get over your inhibitions about all that stuff. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's fine too. I'm trying to think what wouldn't be. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, at some point, cannibalism is probably a bad idea, just health wise.
Right.
But again, don't have a lot of resources, right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
Why is it a bad idea health wise if you're able to cook the meat properly?
If you're able to cook the meat properly, you know what? Like,
because they obviously, like, they were drinking tea.
Right.
They have the means to do stuff.
Right. So if it's in that line too, I'm going to say the world has changed. Humans have had to do that before. It's not ideal, you know. If you can get a pig farm going on or something, do that instead.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like in a true world is ending scenario, I can probably rationalize quite a bit of stuff. So, I don't know. Have I touched on any of it so far? Or?
I'm not telling you that.
Okay, fine. I'll find out, and then we'll have a better discussion about it next week.
Sounds good.
About episode 2, briefly, though, I did like how he just iced that dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Like, that was a logical decision at some point.
I have a question for you quickly, and what better time to do it than on the air so everyone else can hear it? Mm-hmm. Me and Panic have done, like, a first episode of, like, just TV talk sort of thing.
Okay.
Where we've been recapping The Walking Dead and, like, giving opinions about it, like, every week.
Okay.
So, is that something, do you think people would enjoy? Like, we didn't do an episode 1 for this season's episode 1, because obviously that podcast where you were gone, we talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
So, like, there was no point, but, like, we did one for season 3, episode 2, that I haven't put up yet, and then, if, like...
I mean, sure. Like, be part of the conversation on that show. Like, that's fine. We might be a bit of a different voice. Like, because people are really excited about it. It's okay, but... He
kind of feels the same way, too. I don't know how I feel right now, because I am really excited for it, but I seem to be let down when I get excited.
Yeah, like, it does things that I appreciate a show is doing, but then it's also just kind of... Like, it's really violent, I'm going to say, too.
Like, I just want to love it, and it makes it so hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I didn't notice this before is that, first of all, season 1 had 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Season 2, I didn't watch until it was all out.
Right.
So I watched all of them. So, like, if I had a shitty episode, I would just go the next one, and it would usually redeem itself, because, like, the story arc would really come together within, like, 3 episodes together at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm wondering if, like, why they're doing it this way now, I guess. Like, I'm finally starting to watch this series as other people have been, like the day or the day after it comes out.
Like one at a time.
One at a time, waiting a week in between and kind of forgetting what happened with that little recap saying previously on The Walking Dead actually being helpful to me and instead of just annoying.
Because, like, people had issue with 2's pacing. Like,
and, like, now I'm thinking, like, did 2 really have bad pacing? Because I didn't think it did, but I watched 6 episodes in one night.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe
whereas
it
if
did.
you had one per week and you're just like, man, that one didn't really have a lot in it.
Because now it feels like this season has bad pacing to me.
Like it's too fast or what?
I think they're just going down this dangerous path of having too many storylines happening simultaneously and not focusing solely on one and making you comfortable with one.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, I mainly care about what's going on at the prison. And
totally. Like, why would you care about anything else at this point? These people in the prison have given you a reason to like them or hate them. They've shown growth in the time. There's more dynamic. They've proven themselves. Like, why should we care about someone that wanted to kill herself for most of season 2 and this character that we just came up out of nowhere?
Who seems weirdly ridiculous, like super samurai lady. I don't know. I'm still not. I don't even know why she had those 2 chained up zombies with her the whole time. But
they were camouflage.
Like they were just kind of like to blend in with zombie crowds.
Yeah, because like they didn't have arms and they didn't have the bottoms of their jaw.
Yeah, so they're no threat.
They were no threat, and when they walked with them, like the other walkers or biters or whatever they want to call them, they would ignore them completely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, they started.
And also, it was Michonne's boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
And his brother.
Whoa, I didn't know that part. It's like Lollipop Chainsaw kind of.
Nobody does, because that's from the comic, and they haven't said any of that shit because that's apparently not important.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a decent show, but I'm not. You know, like my big banner shows are still like Mad Men and stuff, like where I just get really, really excited. Never come close with this show at all. Like that hasn't happened.
Okay.
So, you know, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Kind of a weird note to end on now.
Well, speaking of zombie apocalypses, our world is kind of ending.
Yeah. Well, no. That's sensationalist for sure, and the news media apparently is really leaning hard on that. Like, it's just like Death Storm 2012. It's just like
Death Storm, Death Watch 2012.
Yeah. Like as of right now, the death count is at 0, but it could go up. Like it's kind of that Simpsons joke.
We are predicting the death count to reach numbers of 5 billion people within the next hour.
Could.
Like, what?
I don't know. Stay tuned. I haven't actually heard that. But yeah, basically the East Coast is getting ravaged by hurricanes.
It was in Revelations, people.
Yep.
Simpsons reference.
Yeah. No, The Simpsons definitely comes to mind. They specifically had a Stormwatch joke. But then, the West Coast, I don't even know if that's a serious situation, but there's been some earthquakes off the coast and fears of waves, but I don't know if any have actually hit. I
read a little bit on the Vancouver one, and
yeah.
There was a threat of tsunami, but no.
It just didn't happen?
Like, they said that there still, like, could be a warning or whatever, but no, the threat that happened at, like, 7 o'clock at night or whatever on Saturday, no, that was fine. Don't worry about it.
Cool. Like, it's still weird for an earthquake that powerful to be felt in that area. Like, that's not very common. Like, my uncle lives out near there, and like he does have like a story or two of like some rumblings happening out on the island specifically, but this is probably the worst one I think in a while. So that's, you know, still interesting, but it's not as dire as
I was kind of thinking about this a little bit too. So Hurricane Katrina, that happened, was a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
At that time that Hurricane Katrina happened, and even 9/11, I wasn't really tuned into the online community. Like, social media and networking wasn't really a thing. Right. Other than, like, maybe if you were in a clan for, like, a game or something, you didn't really just, like, talk to people. And I realized that Hurricane Sandy that's been happening and, like, this whole Vancouver tsunami scare and shit like that,
Yeah.
This is the first time these incidents that are happening. Like, I realize that I have people I would consider friends that I care about around the world that, like, when something happens on the East Coast in the States,
Yeah.
like, that's where, like, Eno and them, like, Panic Knife and all them live, right? Where they're getting hit there. And, like, I was just thinking it's kind of interesting because back then, if the internet had been quicker to pick up on where we are now back then, like, I might have actually known someone who was killed in Katrina.
Right.
And it's just kind of a weird, eye-opening thing that, like
our worlds are getting bigger. Or
no, our world is
like,
getting way smaller because it's like before where, Hurricane Sandy, that's like happening like way over there, like a 7-hour flight. I'm not worried about that. Now it's just like, oh man, Eno hasn't texted or twittered anything in a while. I hope they're okay.
Like a bunch of trees fell on his house or something.
Yeah. Like, it's just kind of interesting to think about where we've come as a global community.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen this kind of, like, here's a photo of my living room, a tree fell through the wall, and you're just like, well, that's crazy, Like,
it makes things a lot scarier, too, because, like, you're always scared something will happen when, like, you hear, say, in Edmonton, you have family in Edmonton, or, you have family in Okotoks.
Yeah.
Like, say you heard something bad happening down there, and you're just like, your first thought is, I hope, like, my family or these people that I care about are okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird to be put in the position where the people I would, like, be scared of, like, be scared for their safety has grown exponentially from my family in Alberta to people, like, around the United States and the east side of Canada and stuff.
Yeah, that briefly reminds me, like, I mean, it's not quite the same because I don't know the dude, but I just enjoy what he does. Swery65 on Twitter. Follow that dude, right? And he's really crazy cool on Twitter. He'll follow everybody back and talk to you, and it's weird. Creator of Deadly Premonition. When the big tsunami happened last March in Japan, like, yeah, that was my initial, like, oh, dude. Like, there's creative, talented people, like, I'm aware of now. Are they okay? Like, that was kind of a, like, yeah, your social circle of sorts has become more intertwined with more people all over the place.
It's kind of interesting.
Somewhere. Yeah. For sure.
It's a good thing, though.
I think so, yeah. It gives you more empathy for different places. Instead of just being like, oh, whatever, some earthquake somewhere. I'm inland, so I'm fine. You're just like, yeah, but dude, there's people. You're just like, okay. Definitely more ties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how bad it really is. Like, I just know they've kind of been canceling a lot of shows and, like, staying inside and, it's been Times Square eerily empty and stuff like that. But
I guess if anybody was wondering after what I was just saying, I have it on good, like, information that Eno and Panic and them, they're all fine.
Okay.
So
it's just kind of a bad bit of weather, but, like, power outages and stuff?
Apparently Eno hasn't even lost power.
Oh, okay.
They just closed down the city so he didn't have to go into work.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he wasn't able to buy Assassin's Creed because they shut down the GameStop.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about people not getting things shipped to them or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I want to play it. No.
Yeah. I guess speaking a little bit about global community.
Okay.
If we're going to go on that tangent, a little, or a segue, even better. A seg, if you will.
Okay.
I've had a few discussions and dealings with Lauren Wainwright, who has recently come up with
oh yeah, this whole gamer journalism
thing. Names were named, people.
Mm-hmm.
Names were named, and it got a dude really fired. Or
Not
quit.
fired.
No, it got him really upset.
To the point where he quit, yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, too. So, you've probably been following this story more than I have, or know more intricate things about it. So, what exactly happened?
The early goings of it, for sure. Robert Florence, formerly of Eurogamer, posted a kind of interesting little editorial story about this great picture of Jeff Keighley that has been circling the internet of him sitting next to a giant Halo 4 banner and like a bowl of Doritos and just looking kind of bummed out or something, like just looking weird. Like it's just like an odd scene.
Yeah.
And that prompted him to kind of write about like are people who cover games too close with the publishers themselves for us to really take them seriously.
Right.
And yeah, one of his kind of like other examples, which he later kind of explained, like it was just like, dude, I was just writing the article and those were literally the examples I saw on Twitter that day. If I'd written it the next day, it would have been different names. So, don't take this as a personal attack. It's just a general thing he's seeing. Lauren Wainwright apparently had been talking on Twitter about like some sort of hashtag contest to win a PS3, which then kind of made him ask the question, like, does this impact your relationship with her opinions? Like, and does that discredit her a bit as a trustworthy source of video game information if she's willing to kind of say things for free things, Which is a valid question.
First of all, I have to stop you and say thank you so much for not using the word game journalism.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't like that term at all.
Why? Like,
because it just seems weird.
Okay, like that's been a attitude too. Like Jim Sterling would probably share the same opinion. Like he makes fun of that term a lot because it's just games is kind of the explanation or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know. Journalism in general is kind of a weird thing right now.
Something in my mind, for something to be game journalism, it would be hard-hitting facts about the industry at large, which nobody would do because it would get them nowhere. Like they would not be allowed to talk to people.
That does happen, but not very often. Like it's mostly
it would be consumer reports basically on the video game industry.
Or what we get right now is mostly PR driven. Like this is kind of his big issue is PR has way too much control.
Yes.
It's 100% right. Like that like the people making the games can kind of determine what the conversation of the games about the games are.
Yeah.
By kind of throttling information. Like it's just like, oh, you don't like our game? All right, you can't run that review until the day it comes out. And it's just like, okay, like that's kind of gross.
Yeah, like wasn't the new Medal of Honor like that? Like they had an embargo on until the day it released or something
to try to kind of limit the discussion of it, which is weird because like.
But then like people just know that if nothing's being said about a game before it comes out, then it's probably not good.
That's probably bad news, yeah.
Because that just shows that even the company, the PR or marketing department doesn't have faith in it.
Like me personally, I'm finding games differ so much more than movies. Like for movies, that day one kind of verdict is really important because opening weekend is most of your gross.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas with games, like if a game is good, I'll be fine buying it a few months from now.
Totally.
Like, I don't need to know if Assassin's Creed 3 is good right now. Like, that, I don't,
Especially with us up here, where we're at a position where we can no longer really rent games. Like, if we want to play a game now, it is, like, we're locked in.
It's a $60 investment every time out. So,
yes.
Like, I'm willing to wait for good opinions to show up. I'm not like, well, OXM says it's really good. I don't read OXM ever, but they posted it and they said it was real good, so I'm going to go buy it. Like, it's just like, what? That person's opinion meant nothing to you yesterday.
It kind of makes you start calling into question opinions even we like. Like, Giant Bomb guys, I've started, like, examining what their positions are, and their positions change really quickly, depending on the conversation being had.
Yeah, like specifically if we want to continue this on Assassin's Creed, I don't know if you recall, Ryan Davis gave Assassin's Creed Revelations 4 out of 5.
Oh, dude, he's loved every Assassin's Creed game since 2.
Okay. Like, I think...
You're just like, okay, quiet.
Well, no, see, because Revelations he gave 4 out of 5, but then just recently on, like, a GameSpot podcast he guested on, he called it hot garbage.
To be fair, he says hot garbage about everything. It's basically his way of saying, I
guess, but it seems weird for him to, like, have put his name on a 4 out of 5, like, really solid review for a game, and then a year later be like, yeah, that game was actually really bad. It was
weird. Like, it is weird, especially for a game, like you said, that's only a year out. Like, I could definitely see Jeff, like, maybe talking some trash about something he reviewed in 96.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, times have changed.
Yeah. But even then, like, he'll stand by weird old stuff. Like, it's just like, no, dude, at the time, Tony Hawk 3 was, like, amazing. I gave it a 10 and I stand by it. You know, it's just like, okay.
Would you
like,
say, in that way, Jeff usually sticks to his opinion harder than a lot of the Giant Bomb guys?
Like, this whole recent thing definitely did remind me of his Kane and Lynch business, like, 5 years ago.
That was messed up. That wasn't so much... Actually, no, you're right. It was totally marketing having their grubby little hands in the industry of video game reviewing.
I guess it would have been like Eidos PR or whatever. Like, they were advertising really heavily for that game on the site.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, like, that's supposed to be separate from the actual review staff, though. His review comes out, it's like, it's kind of bad. 6 out of 10.
Well, even he said that like the business part and the editorial staff never talked because that's not how it was supposed to go ever.
Right. Like, that's like,
your opinion's never supposed to be swayed.
Right. So, like, he's kind of been a previous good example of, like, integrity, I guess, to some extent. Like, you know, like, whether or not his opinion really matters to you is still up for debate. Like, he did just review Most Wanted. We were talking about it briefly.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get that game. Like, he still gave it a 4 out of 5, but that says more to me, like, that
just knowing how Jeff is.
Yeah, like, if they did that game right, that should be an easy 5. That it's not, that game's not worth my time.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Like,
at the $60 price point.
Good. Yeah, it's like...
If you saw it for like $10, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I might just be like, I'm going to play Paradise again. That was the time they did this right.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm not done with that game, so whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to think where to really go with this recent thing. Like, yeah, PR has too much power. Dude was right. Then that he got kind of like in weird legal trouble. I guess the UK, this also kind of brought up like free speech rights over there. They're pretty different, I guess.
And the fact that you don't have them?
Well, yeah, like apparently that like libelous, that was a word being thrown around.
Yeah.
That's a weird legalism word, but I guess it's like she was basically calling that slander or something. Like, it's like, you can't do that. But then she went weirdly dark on her Twitter. Like, have you talked to her since, or has this been... That was a while ago?
It was a while ago. We used to talk a little bit on Xbox. Like, I still have her on my friends list and Skype.
Okay.
I used to have her on Twitter, but honestly, I never really have cared for her opinion on video games, mainly because she thinks every Tomb Raider is the greatest game, and that's just wrong. So, like her opinion as, like, for video games, or as, like, a media professional or whatever, never clicked with me, so I unfollowed her on Twitter a long time ago. But she's always been very open on Twitter, and after this whole debacle, she has recently locked and closed her Twitter account to only people she allows to see it now.
Yeah, which is kind of people have been kind of looking at that as being a weird...
It's the guilty thing to do.
Yeah, that's like the wrong direction.
When you're guilty, that's what you do. You run when you're guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I don't want to necessarily bring him up, but the whole ocean marketing guy, Paul Cristoforo, like, that dude was totally in the wrong, and he still kept his Twitter open and talked to every single person that badmouthed him.
I'm trying to remember what he was marketing.
Advertising. Bad customer service.
But for which game was it? Like, what was this?
It was for the Avenger controller. And then, there was a whole lawsuit that came out. On pixel-response.com, they're under a talk with... I did an interview with him back almost a year now ago. Like, this stuff happened last December, and I talked with him at the beginning of January. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a weird thing to bring up, but it's just one of those things that, like, I've always respected him for, like, manning up and knowing that he fucked up and still not hiding.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about a person, even if you don't agree with them at all, when they just, like, are like, no, I fucked up, and I will take any punishment you give me, or whatever. But I will also fight back, because I'm not a pushover.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. There's that, I guess.
Yeah, like, I don't know where to really, like, my pool of people I now, like, trust for video game opinions
has gotten a lot smaller.
It's really small, yeah. Like, it's just, like, Metacritic is kind of just a joke now. Like, it's just useless.
Metacritic has always kind of been a joke because it's a way that they like, dish out bonuses.
Right, like they definitely lean on it way too hard to the point where like, yeah, I don't know. That's definitely not a good situation over there. Like, just looking at movies a lot too. Like, it's just weird how different the way critics are treated is right now. Like, someone pointed out right after the Jeff Keighley image was going around, you would never see like Roger Ebert reporting on movies from like the Mountain Dew Hot Zone or something.
Yeah.
You know, like that this level of sponsorship is just kind of gross. Despite like Jeff Keighley kind of having a decent point of being like, look, we need outside sponsors, we need bigger sponsors to be involved in this. Like, it being mainstream is a good thing. And he's right, because like if you only you have to rely on ads for video games to talk about video games.
Absolutely.
Like, that's really weird. Like I brought this up on Top Down Perspective as well, but it's kind of weird to see on Eurogamer, like reading that article about how weird the business is, and then their site is also just covered with ads. Like, it's just like giant Black Ops 2 banners all over, and you're just like, well, this is so ironic now, because like if you guys cover Black Ops 2 and say it's good, it will also mean nothing to me. You know, like it was like whatever. Like, they've been bought. They don't, like, they obviously would say that. So I have no idea if this game is good or not.
So like,
talk to my cousin and be like, "Hey, was it good?" And that means more to me. But yeah.
So in that respect, like if you look at something like Destructoid, I'm wondering how they do, like all that stuff, because they kind of remind me of the old GameSpot, the way they do stuff.
I haven't been frequenting it that much lately.
They have a lot of Assassin's Creed 3 banners everywhere.
Okay.
And it just seems kind of weird because it's at the point, like, I think it's Conrad Zimmerman or whatever that did that review, because they probably will never let Sterling touch a game like that again.
Yeah, like it's kind of weird, like me going through old Idle Thumbs and stuff too. Like, he's not the only one of that opinion that series isn't all that, you know. But
I have to say, like, and I know you agree with this completely, the more I listen to Idle Thumbs, the more I realize what Pixel Response is basically trying to be that, what they're doing. And it's kind of weird because, like, we kind of just learned about them within the last couple months.
Like, yeah, just literally about 2 months.
And the fact that, like, there's such a close parallel with, like, what they have done and accomplished and are doing now, as opposed to, like, what we're trying to do and what we are doing.
Yeah, they're definitely
like,
what I'm kind of like my personal.
Since they're so close to, like, where we come from as a background, like, I've been finding that they echo a lot of opinions, like, that I've heard from you, even if I've disagreed with it, or, like, even opinions I've had, some of them agree with and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
it's kind of interesting to think that, like, a bunch of writers that met on a message board are the people I look for industry news, and not the people that have been doing it for 20 years.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, like I also thought briefly of like you were kind of a while ago remarking how Lone Survivor dude also covers games.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of interesting too. That's another similar thing I'd like to try, of just being like, you know, I'm commenting on games because I'm also aspiring to create them.
Yes.
So my thoughts are of that nature. They're not trying to, you know, please anybody, really. Like, it's just like, yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was bad. Or I specifically thought these things while playing it, or whatever.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Man, yeah, this ad on Assassin's Creed on Destructoid is really invasive. This video just keeps playing.
Yeah, the one that brings up the thing that takes up half your screen.
Yeah, mouse over, and then giant ad comes down.
Pretty great, right? Is there
a review posted for it?
It is. It's 7.5 out of 10 they gave it.
Okay, well, see, that's... In the video game world, that's a little harsh. So that's interesting. I don't know.
Well, it's harsh if you're not Jim Sterling.
Yeah, but he gave it a 4 or something?
He probably would have... Well, Assassin's Creed 2 specifically is what I'm talking about, and he gave it a 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And everyone else gave it an 8 and 9.
Well, like...
Yeah.
Like I said, though, like, I will never go back to that game ever, which to me kind of says a lot about its longevity. Like for me, like being able to go back to something is an important qualifier. Like it doesn't matter the graphics. If that can be said of your game, then you're doing it right. You know, like it's just like, oh, dude, like yeah, I can totally see myself playing this again in 5 years. And it's like, okay, that's good then. That's interesting. Whereas if it's like, yep, disposable sequel, like this is yet another of these. I don't know. Like even stuff I like a lot. Like I don't know how Skyrim is going to stack up when we see the next Elder Scrolls or the next Fallout. You know, like it might be like this is the best of this kind of thing as of right now.
Well, you were still an Oblivion apologist too, though.
Yeah, but
even
like,
after Skyrim,
I don't really go back to it though. Like it was just a really interesting thing at a time, you know.
Yeah.
So it might also fall into that category because like I try going back to Morrowind, and I can't play that. This is just poor in a lot of respects. Like people have nostalgia for it because like it was the first of those things like a decade ago, and I can see why that would be really.
It does some cool story beats too.
Does it? Like, I guess, but
like the different like brotherhoods and stuff like that were neat.
I don't know. It's just at some point it becomes too bad. Like that stuff is buried in this unappealing form.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the main game story was. I didn't really care.
Yeah, like I don't know. Some stuff about game sequels. Like I've been going back to a lot of older stuff. Obviously, with me talking about like Mickey Mouse and all that, and just kind of having to reevaluate like what are the true classics. Like what is the video game canon, if you will. What does and doesn't qualify definitely is open for discussion. Like people are like, oh no, dude, that game's amazing. You can't question Super Metroid's awesomeness. And it's just like, well, all right, I don't know.
No, dude, the part where you're in the water, shit sucked. Don't care how much you love Super Metroid, it sucked.
There's some stuff with the jumping mechanics and stuff too. Like I mentioned it before. Like my issue with there's no logic behind which things can be destroyed. You just kind of have to find the right piece of that girder that can be
well, I mean, the logic is video game. That is
exactly.
all. Yeah.
And that only goes so far for me. Like, it's just like, we can improve on this, you know? Like, if we make another Metroid game, we should definitely look at this and not do that again.
And then they devolved and did that stupid fucking Metroid Prime bullshit.
You don't like Metroid Prime?
Not really.
I'm trying to... Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about Metroid Prime today. Like, I tried playing the first one about a year ago.
I think you'd be able to still play the first one. Like, I mean, I still can't play the third one.
I can't play
the controls are just fucked.
Yeah, I can't play it.
They're garbage controls, and I don't feel that I should have to learn how to play a video game all over again. I should I've been playing games since I was like 3 fucking years old. If I can't pick it up and learn it, it's not worth my time.
Yeah, like you did this wrong at some point. I don't care if you got an 8.5, dude. It means nothing.
It's fucking stupid. So there you go.
Yeah.
Idle thumbs, pixel response, your last bastions of real talk about video games on the internet.
I hope there's more. I've been kind of spreading out my nets and like following stuff they talk about, like Rock Paper Shotgun. I'm looking into them more and stuff. But
they're all right. Rock Paper Shotgun.
And like Gamma Sutra and Shack News, stuff like that.
I don't like Gamma Sutra at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't gone to Shack News ever.
Okay. Like I'm just trying to find like other corners of the internet that I haven't been looking at, because I've had a pretty narrow like GameSpot centric like perspective on it all for like a decade.
Yep.
Like that they were kind of some of the first personalities I ran into on the internet that I thought were interesting at all.
Yeah. So, and they still are. Like as people,
like
they're totally
part
fine.
Of, like I still enjoy that podcast and everything, but oh yeah, there's a new one actually right now. But anyway, yeah, they're no longer though the sole dudes I have to go to. And to be fair, like they've never said they should be. Like since Giant Bomb started, they're like, we just want to be part of your kind of circle of conversation about this thing. Like we're not the be all end all. But yeah.
Yeah.
Games.
But that's why you have us.
Yeah, we're here.
We'll do all the groundwork. You can just listen to us, and we'll regurgitate things and make you think.
Right.
What we're here for.
Yeah. And I don't think you'll see the kind of thing where like PR sends us a trailer and we'll post it. Like I don't know. That just doesn't seem to be interesting.
Yeah, I've been like, there. I don't want to do it.
like even a kind of interesting trailer. Like there was the one for the Metro game that's coming out,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Like I don't know anything about it yet. It could be terrible. Like this is their marketing. Like why would I show you a commercial? You know, that's not helpful.
Yeah, and
So,
I've done that whole thing with the previous website. Like, you would just check your email and you'd have a bunch of press releases of people saying, post this now. It's great. It's going to be amazing.
Whereas I kind of like again, I guess Idle Thumbs can get away with it because it's not they're not getting paid to do it or something, but they kind of will criticize the language in press releases sometimes. And point out how silly a press release sounds and looks, which I don't hear any other outlet doing. Which is too bad. Like, I'd like to see behind the scenes more often, you know?
Oh, I should almost see if I can find my old press releases from my old email.
Mm-hmm.
They're just copy-paste jobs, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, they read like a computer wrote them, which is amazing.
Anyway, I think that's enough for this week. Enjoy Halloween. It's going to happen. Or maybe you've already enjoyed Halloween.
That's going to happen?
Enjoy All Saints Day, dude. It's going to be sweet.
Wait, yeah, I guess this will be out when you're hearing this. It's the 1st, isn't it?
Yeah, All Saints Day. Have a good one. We'll see you in November. Getting ready for, I don't know. Like, are there any big holiday releases you're pumped? You're psyched about?
Call of Duty Black Ops.
Are you being facetious?
No, I like those games. Why does everyone ask me that?
Well, because, like, it's...
I don't get why I can't like indie games and AAA games.
That's fine. It's just... I don't know. That one specifically has been kind of the juggernaut, you know? Like, it's just like, you know, Halo 4. I'd question the same thing.
I'm looking forward to Halo 4 as well.
Okay. Cool, man.
Fuck you. You're judging me. I can tell.
I mean, no, sorry. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe they'll be good. I have no idea. I really just don't know.
Everybody
no one's played it yet.
Everybody loved Dishonored, and you didn't.
I just didn't like the demo I played. Like, even, like, yeah, Idle Thumbs had a discussion about that game, and they really like it too. But then they'll still kind of cop to the story's kind of bad, which I don't know.
And like XCOM was huge with
XCOM
everybody.
was pretty huge.
I don't know if I care about it too much personally.
Like strategy games, yeah.
Anyways, Facebook.com/thepixelresponse. Email address is podcast@pixel-response.com. Twitter is pixel_response for the normal site. So follow that, or you can follow me and Nathan. I'm Exposure, EXFAUXSURE. Nathan is Krasnor, KRAZNOR.
That's Z, actually.
What did I say?
Z.
I hate you so much. Stitcher app, you can just look up Pixel Response and follow us on there. Give us a thumbs up or iTunes review. We appreciate it. It spreads the word, spreads our germ. That sounds gross. For everything else, http://pixel-response.com for more.
Boom. See you next time.
Later.